you don't get that back. That is the core of Bilal's philosophy. He argues that you come into this world as a man once. If you trade that birthright out of fear, or for a shot at fame, or to get into the right rooms, you lose a specific spiritual energy. He claims he has never seen anyone recover from it. He points directly at the infamous puffy parties. He claims those attendees thought they were immune to consequences, only to find themselves punked out by their own dark desires. But who is making these claims? The name dominating the chatter is Bilal, a man the internet describes as a former fixture in Will Smith's inner circle. And he isn't just throwing rocks at the throne, he is launching missiles. Bilal alleges that Will used his massive influence and access to pull young men close, only to cross lines that many online are calling outright predatory. He draws a straight line between these alleged encounters and the tragic downfall of actor Bryshere Gray. Bilal argues that the chaos we saw in Bryshere's life, the spiraling behavior, the explicit content surfacing online wasn't a coincidence. It was a symptom. He frames it as the collateral damage of what allegedly happens behind closed doors in the Smith camp. And according to Bilal, the empire struck back. He claims that the moment he started speaking publicly, Jada Pinkett Smith was furious. He describes immediate pressure threats, intimidation, and an escalation into legal conflict. He wants you to know that he isn't spilling this tea for clicks or views. He is presenting it as a battle for survival. But the reason this story really caught fire, the reason we are all still talking about it, is because Bilal didn't just hint at the truth. On Tasha K's show, he went straight for the throat. He dropped a bombshell that left the host and the audience stunned. He claimed to have personally witnessed an intimate, graphic situation involving Will Smith and actor Dwayne Martin. He didn't use metaphors. He described exactly what he saw, and that allegation changed the conversation forever.
Door to Dwayne's dressing room, and that's when I see Dwayne and having anal sex with Will.
Let me process that for a second.
There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Dwayne was standing up on him. Murder, like murder. It was murder in there.
He wasn't talking about hearsay. He described a private moment he claims to have seen with his own eyes. And the internet didn't just listen, it exploded. Within minutes, the claim was chopped into clips, stitched on TikTok, and dissected by millions. It was the kind of viral firestorm that you can't put out. But as the view count climbed, so did the stakes. Bilal claims that within hours of the interview dropping, the legal threats arrived at his doorstep. The message was clear: shut up or else. The Smith camp allegedly flipped the script immediately. Jada didn't just deny the claims, she reportedly accused Bilal of trying to shake them down for money before going public. They framed him as an extortionist, a man chasing a payday, not the truth. This split the audience in real time. Half the world saw a liar getting caught, the other half saw a whistleblower being silenced. Most people would fold under that kind of billion-dollar pressure. But Bilal? He poured gasoline on the fire. Instead of retracting, he went back on Tasha K's show for part 2. And this time, the energy was lethal. He didn't apologize. He doubled down. He dragged Jada publicly, dared their lawyers to do their worst, and made one thing crystal clear. If the Smiths wanted a war, he was ready to take it all the way to the bitter end.
Before we put out the interview, all we put out was a clip that went ultra viral. Okay? Yeah. Everybody in the world got this clip. It was trending for days on Twitter, okay? Before the interview comes out, what shocked me is Jada is doing her book promotional for Worthy.
Yes.
She goes to the Breakfast Club and she sits down and they ask her about you, but they can't not ask. Like, it's so huge.
Right.
And to my surprise, she answers.
It's ridiculous, right? And it's nonsense. And this is a person that tried a money shakedown that didn't work. We're going to take legal action.
The reason Will responded, the reason why Jada responded, because they know it's true. Will's never responded. And they responded in less than 9 hours.
They did. That was a fast response.
That was because he know what I saw in that dressing room. He know other things that I saw. She did all this to try to scare me, but I fear no one but Allah. Jada, listen. In 2 weeks, if you don't sue me in 2 weeks, if Tasha K will have me, I'm back here and I'm dropping evidence. Period. You said I extorted you. You said there's a money shakedown. You said a lot of things about me. And you know that the things that you said were untrue. Let's get into a little bit more of it. Jada runs Will. Period. Me and her at war. I'm gonna put Will to the side. Will is to the side. Me and Jada, I will say this because I know you're watching. Mm-hmm. I know Karen Tense is watching.
Who's Karen Tense?
That is her PR person for years.
Okay.
Right? I know they're watching. Jada, you're a bald head liar and you're a drug addict, right?
Oh, God.
You told the world that you were going to sue me.
Ooh.
As of yet, and you said you're going to do it swift. It's been over 2 weeks. So Jada, I'm giving you 2 more weeks to sue me. If you don't sue me, this is what's going to happen. All the parties, right? And the people, the men that you hit with dildos, I'm naming names, right? All the salacious stuff that you have done and hurt other people, I'm naming names. You assassinate my character. You say I extort you. Well, extortion is criminal. Like, I would be in jail right now if I tried to extort.
That single move convinced a lot of people to hit pause, because usually, when the cease and desist letters hit the table, the bluffs end. People get quiet, they delete the tweets, they vanish. Bilal did the exact opposite. He stepped further into the spotlight. He escalated. He spoke like a man who had absolutely nothing to lose. And while confidence doesn't equal truth, that defiance made the internet treat this as a real crisis, not just another tabloid rumor. And he wasn't done yet. Bilal appeared on the Make It Make Sense podcast and took the narrative to a dangerous new level. He didn't just call Will Smith a bad mentor. He effectively branded him Diddy Jr. The accusation? That mentorship was just the bait. According to Bilal, the pitch given to these young men is the Hollywood golden ticket: opportunity, guidance, connections. But he claims that behind the curtain, the price of admission was their bodies. He describes a dark system where aspiring stars were allegedly pressured into sexual situations, while the careers they were promised never materialized. He paints a picture of a factory line. Young men are used, and when Will is allegedly done with them, they are discarded or passed around to other powerful figures in the industry. It's a story the internet was ready to believe, because it mirrors the exact Hollywood pipeline rumors that have circulated for decades. But then, Bilal dropped the hammer. He claimed that Will Smith actually admitted to wrongdoing involving Bryshere Gray. And more terrifyingly, he suggests that this isn't just his word against theirs. He claims there is documentation.
Story short, when I'm in Chicago, this guy's acting erratic. Like, I mean, crazy. He's getting stopped by the cops. There's male prostitutes involved. There's mental illness involved. There's drug use involved. And I'm really trying to see what happened to this guy. And one day he said, you know what happened. You know that Will R-worded me, or however y'all kind of say it on YouTube. You know that Diddy assaulted me. And you know Charlie Mack made me suck his private part. Right? And I'm like, whoa. This was a full admittance. And he's going, and I'm like, I didn't know anything. He's in the corner, balled up, snot, so much sweating and pain that blood is coming from his nose, right? And this is me and him in a conversation. And he was like, please don't tell him. Please don't tell him, right? Will admitted to me that he had sex with Bryshere Gray, but it was consensual, right? So I'm like, okay, so now it's starting to make sense, because I would have never believed that the way this guy's acting, something had to happen. So now, Will told me, and this is going to be in paperwork and everything, right? So when Will told me that he did have sexual intercourse with Bryshere, he said Bryshere did ask him to stop. Will said he finished, completed the act, then stopped. Right then and there, when a person says stop, that means stop. Period. So I do believe that Will Smith assaulted Bryshere Gray. Charlie Mack and Will gets a lawyer for Bryshere and they try to get me under NDA. I tell Will, I'm not signing. I don't even have an NDA with you. How am I getting an NDA with him? You understand what I'm saying? So I hire a lawyer, right? Mm-hmm. When I hire the lawyer, he comes back and say, listen, this is the best I can do. He said, I'm going to have y'all do a mutual NDA, meaning that Bryshere can't tell people that you know that Will and Diddy actually thought of him. And I want to say the R word, but I know we're on YouTube. Then you can't say nothing about him. So I said, okay, well, as long as he stopped telling people that I know what Will and Diddy did to him. You understand what I'm saying? Period. That was the problem. So there's legal paperwork, and it's all going to be, and you got to follow this case. All that's coming.
That is the kind of claim that hits like a bomb, because the moment someone says paperwork exists, the audience stops treating it like gossip. They start demanding receipts. And since Bryshere Gray's name was already circling the drain of online conspiracy theories, Bilal didn't just light a match. He poured gasoline on a bonfire that was already burning. For years, the streets have whispered that Bryshere was pulled into certain circles under the guise of career guidance, specifically involving Will Smith and Diddy. But now, the story gets darker. The rumors allege that Bryshere's own mother, Andrea, gave the green light for this access. The timeline is crucial here. Back then, Bryshere was hot off Empire. He was young, hungry, and trying to dominate both acting and music. He was the perfect candidate to be managed by bigger forces. The theory claims his former manager, Charlie Mack, facilitated the connection. And looking at it from the outside, the trap was perfectly set. You have two of the most powerful men in entertainment offering to mentor you? That looks like a shortcut to the stratosphere. Internet sleuths point to the old interviews. They say you can hear the excitement in Bryshere's voice. He genuinely believed these connections were his golden ticket. He thought he was about to build a real empire. But then, the narrative flips. The same people tracking this story point to the devastating after. The public struggles, the substance abuse issues, the shocking appearance and explicit content online. The dream didn't just die, it rotted.
He's with my man Charlie Mack, so Charlie was with me every step of the way. First out the limo, so Charlie has been with me, 30 years coming up in the business. So, he's surrounded by a whole lot of strength. He's surrounded by a whole lot of love. And all he has to do is add discipline, and he gonna be all right.
It's like Uncle Will, Who is best to give you advice? And it's Will Smith, and I'm getting so much good advice. I got my first acting role, Empire, and it's changing my life. And it's like I'm listening from the greatest, and it's like making me well.
They framed it as the ultimate before and after. The promise was global success. The result was total collapse. And that is where the internet becomes dangerous. Once the public decides a storyline makes sense, they start treating every messy chapter in a celebrity's life as proof. Every mugshot, every breakdown, every headline becomes evidence of the conspiracy. This is why the story won't die. Bilal's allegations didn't start the rumors about Bryshere Gray. They just gave the fire a new headline, a new villain, and a much louder platform. And then, Jaguar Wright stepped into the ring. If Bilal lit the match, Jaguar poured the kerosene. She doesn't use polite words like mentorship. She paints a picture where that word is just a mask, a label used to make a predatory situation look respectable to the outside world. She argues that the very last thing Will Smith was offering Bryshere was guidance. And this is where the internet sleuths start stacking the timelines. They don't just point to the gossip, they point to the police reports. They say, look closely, look how fast everything fell apart. They point specifically to 2022, the year the floor fell out. Bryshere was arrested and faced serious legal consequences tied to a disturbing incident involving a woman. To the skeptics, it was just a crime. But to the people following this narrative, it was the final symptom of a soul that had been broken years prior.
Bryshere Gray, one of the stars of the hit show Empire. Tonight we're seeing hours of new video from his July arrest that ended with his wife flagging down police and telling them the actor had her for hours inside their Goodyear home. The bizarre jailhouse interview lasting for 2 hours as they try to piece together a chaotic change.
But the cracks had started showing long before that. Rewind to 2020, another major headline, another police report. this time involving his marriage, with terrifying claims that his wife had to run for help. The chaos was becoming a pattern. Then came the image that truly broke the internet, the mugshot. When that photo hit social media, the reaction was visceral. People couldn't reconcile the man in that booking photo with the fresh-faced star from Empire. He looked different, hollowed out, changed. The comment sections did what they always do. They turned it into a forensic analysis. They posted side-by-side photos, before and after, treating his physical decline as the missing piece of evidence. To them, his face was the proof that the rumors were true. But Jaguar Wright wasn't just commenting on his appearance. She went for the jugular. She circled back with even more explosive allegations, this time targeting his own blood. She claimed that Bryshere's mother, Andrea Mayberry, wasn't just a bystander. Jaguar alleged that she was aware of the mentorship setup, and worse, that she approved it. She reignited the rumor that Charlie Mack, Bryshere's former manager, was the architect who built the bridge between Bryshere and these powerful men. The implication was clear. The people who were supposed to protect him were the ones who allegedly served him up.
About Bryshere's mom, I'ma kick you in your pussy and then I'ma go to work North Philly style. I'll kill and Charlie. You happy now? He's a gay star. Are you happy now, Andy? For a book that didn't sell? I hope that new husband of yours leaves you. And maybe it's time you tell your son why his father is really in jail, his biological father, for all of his life, and what you had to do with it. You can see that came to me and begged me for my help. I told her to get the away from Charlie. I did everything that I could do to get Bryshere, to help her get Bryshere out of California into Chicago State to be ready for filming. She knew she knew what Will did to him. But because of Charlie, see? And Charlie had promised her all kinds of things. And all she had to do was pretend to be a broken down single mom who worked her way up through the ghetto and raised a superstar for television, when the truth is she wasn't nothing but a drug dealer's. That's all she ever was. She went from dealer to drug dealer, and then she snitched on whoever she needed to snitch on until she could get to the bigger bag, until she got with Larry Lair, my friend who raised Bryshere in $1 million home. Your whole book is lies, Andy. And I hope anybody that bought it asks for a refund and demands it comes out of your pocket every time they see your son's gay.
That is the phrase that changes everything. It turns this from a tragedy about a young man's bad decisions into a horror story about betrayal. And then, Jaguar threw more gasoline on the fire. She claims that when the Diddy empire began to crumble right after Cassie filed her lawsuit, Bryshere allegedly saw an opening. She says he was actually meeting with lawyers. He was preparing to take action against both Will and Diddy. He was ready to fight. But then, he stopped. Jaguar frames it as pure intimidation. She alleges he was warned to back off for his own safety. The message was supposedly clear: stay silent, or else. And just when you think the story can't get darker, she drags in the next generation. She floated a rumor about a tape, a private recording involving not just Will, Diddy, and Bryshere, but names like Justin Bieber and Jaden Smith. She speaks about it with the confidence of someone who has seen the footage. But this is where we have to hit the brakes. This is the definition of the rumor zone. The internet repeats these names on an endless loop, but without a single frame of verified proof. It remains a ghost story.
Trying to slip him out so he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present, that tape exists.
Okay.
I really hope none of that baby oil was used on those kids. That would just be in bad taste. Baby oil on babies.
You can't say that the flavor camp was sponsored by Johnson & Johnson. You just come on. Come on.
Starting to sound that way, ain't it?
No.
all that talent, and she let Charlie tune that boy up on, knowing that he was bipolar and had ADHD. What kind of mother would do that to her son? Turn him into a prostitute so you could pretend to be something more than what you are, which is nothing more than a Philly whore. You're a whore. You're a big old whore, and they're making your son out to be, that's for sure. Because he didn't have no choice. You was down by all. I'm sorry, the Bryshere conversation for me is not easy. Because I came to Bilal and I asked Bilal to help me save the kids, and all he was worried about was his fucking book.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Nobody care about these kids. Don't nobody care about these kids.
But rumors are one thing. A lawsuit? That is something else entirely. And the internet found a price tag. $50 million. Speculation exploded about a massive civil case brewing in the background. It started with a blind item, an anonymous tip hinting that a male accuser was preparing to step forward against an A-list mogul. The internet didn't need a detective license to connect the dots. They looked at Diddy, they looked at the timing, and then they dragged Will Smith right into the center of the storm. And this brings us right back to Bilal. Remember the receipts he claimed to have? Bilal insists that Bryshere Gray didn't just whisper these stories. He claims Bryshere told him everything. He alleges that Bryshere detailed serious, specific allegations involving Will Smith and suggested that Diddy was operating from the exact same playbook. Bilal is very careful about how he frames this. He doesn't describe it as mentorship. He doesn't describe it as friendship. He uses two very specific words: coercion and misconduct.
Because he was like, Charlie Mack is not going to be able to be there because him and Charlie had something else going on. Our rob in Chicago for Empire, it's a damn mess. It's no other way to put it. This dude is going.
Those two words are dangerous. Once they enter the chat, the court of public opinion is in session. Suddenly, every rumor looks like hard evidence. And then, the spotlight shifts. It moves from the alleged victims to the Smith family itself. For years, the public image was cool dad, but the rumors paint a different picture. Will Smith as the puppet master, controlling, strict, intense. Jaguar Wright takes that theory and runs with it. She claims Jaden didn't just move out. She alleges he escaped. She suggests he left that house as a teenager because he physically couldn't take the atmosphere anymore. But here is the twist that ties it all together. Jaguar admits she didn't get this from nowhere. She claims her source was Bilal. It creates a perfect, self-sustaining loop. Bilal provides the ammunition, and Jaguar pulls the trigger.
Oh, that your husband was doing things to boys and did stuff to your son, and you ain't do shit about it. Bilal told me everything.
Their good friend who
Bilal told me. Jada. He told me that you knew Will was f***ing your child. Yes, he did. Wonder why he left that out of his Tasha K interview.
Yeah, in that interview, he said a lot. He said a lot.
He said everything but the thing that was important. That he know that Will Smith, Jaden, he Bryshere and he...
But Bilal wasn't content with just targeting the king. He turned his sights on the queen. He returned to Tasha K's show, and this time, the target was Jada. He didn't mince words. He blasted her. Using extreme, scorched earth language, he accused her of the one thing the public hates more than a villain, an enabler. He alleged that she knew exactly what was happening behind those closed doors and did absolutely nothing to stop it. That accusation changed the temperature of the entire conversation. It wasn't just about what Will allegedly did anymore, it was about who watched it happen. And then, the legal war went nuclear. We heard about threats before, but this time, there was paperwork. Bilal didn't wait to be sued. He went on the offense. He filed a lawsuit against Jada Pinkett Smith, claiming that when he refused to be silenced, she resorted to threats. He flipped the script. The man they allegedly tried to quiet was now dragging them into court.
Secret in Hollywood that Jada hates me because I have a strong relationship with Will and I do my own thing.
Why don't she hate Dwayne?
I can't answer that question.
Why don't she hate Dwayne Martin?
Well, she's gonna love anybody that treats her like she's a god, right? When you're a narcissist and a sociopath like she is, and I'll get into that, you want to be worshipped.
And he gets specific. He claims this wasn't a vague phone call, it was face-to-face. Bilal describes a confrontation at the Regency Calabasas Commons in September of 2021. He alleges that Jada looked him in the eye and delivered a message that chilled him to the bone. Keep speaking on her business, and you could end up harmed. He claims she didn't just want silence, she wanted a signature. He alleges she pressured him to sign a non-disclosure agreement, a legal gag order to bury the secrets forever. And when he refused, he claims the threats started rolling in from people deep inside Will and Jada's circle. When these details hit the internet, the reaction was instant. It brought everything full circle. People remembered Jaguar Wright's claim about young men running from the Smith home. They looked at Bilal's description of Bryshere Gray, not as a willing participant, but as a man paralyzed by fear. A man terrified of powerful names. And suddenly, the timeline made sense to them. The crash out, the mugshot, the spiraling behavior. To the internet, these weren't random events. They were the scars of someone who had seen too much. But now, I have to turn this over to you. Is this a real story with real smoke behind it? Or is this just a rumor machine spinning out of control to take down a Hollywood legend? And the biggest question of all, do you think Bryshere Gray will ever break his silence and tell us what really happened in that room? Let me know your take in the comments. And if you want to see the evidence we couldn't show here, tap the video on your screen right now. You do not want to miss the next chapter.